What if the solution to growing your business was about systems? Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Probert.
And hey, you guys, I'm Laura. I am Jonathan's co host today. Welcome to Systemized.
We're here to talk to successful entrepreneurs about the systems that helps them grow their business. It's what we wanted to know when we started ours, and it's what's going to help you build yours. And today, we're excited to welcome website storyteller Derrick Boddie to the show. How's it going, Derrick?
That's going great. Happy to be here.
Happy that you're on. Before we get into it, let me tell you guys a little bit about Derrick first. Derrick Boddie is the founder of Mango Innovation in Toronto. He works with startups and growing businesses that need sharper positioning and websites that actually reflect the level that they're operating at. Derrick has experience across government, enterprise, and private sector projects, prioritizing clarity in storytelling, design, and development. His method is direct and purposeful, enabling teams to feel assured about their work.
So, Derrick, we're happy to have you today. It was fun to meet you in one of our networking Zooms, and you started talking about storytelling, and so I was like sitting up a little straighter, going, "Oh, I need to connect with Derrick so that we could see what he's all about." So, we're just happy to have you today.
Yeah, happy to be here and to be able to share my knowledge.
Let's get right into it. Derrick, can you tell us about something you implemented into your business that saved you time, effort, or money?
Yeah, so I have this little model. It's called the fake it till you make it model. It seems a little more simpler than it's a cool model that I kind of came up with. Really where we are literally kind of in a way faking it till you make it, but it has principles to it, and I'll just kind of outline some of the principles within this model that we have. So with the fake it till you make it model, it's all about presenting a professional persona, no matter the size of business you are. You could be a one-person business, or you can be a team of like three people. It doesn't really matter. It's more about that persona of professionality and great storytelling of what you guys do and present that to the world. How that can work, which we've done in the past with a festival, is you start off by one, how you communicate with people. So your email, such a simple thing that people overlook, is having a professional email. So a lot of people, whenever they're starting business or they even email people the business, they're using their Gmail, their Hotmail, or one of the generic ones for the big tech companies. That doesn't look professional, looks unprofessional. A lot of times when I get emails from anybody from a Gmail, I kind of like already lose a little respect for them. 'Cause I'm like, how big are you? Are you guys really a serious business? You're sending emails to me from a Gmail. So simple thing is get yourself a professional email. Buy yourself a domain for your business based on whatever your business name is and get that domain for your email. It's not as expensive as most people think. They think you have to pay this crazy amount of money to have a professional domain. It's really not that expensive. You can literally get one from Google through Google Workspace for literally, I think the pricing plan starts like $5, $6 a month. And you already have a professional email that way. Or you can go the Microsoft route and you have Microsoft has their own same thing. I think there's a little bit more expensive, maybe $10 or $15 a month. But the point is, with theirs, I think you also get access to like Office and all that stuff. But that allows for you to have that professional email. So then when you're sending those emails, it's coming from that domain. It's not coming from a Gmail or Hotmail or anything. People see that and they're like, okay, you look a little bit more professional. You already gained a little bit more trust there. So that's a good start. Um, Next up is branding. How do you tell that story? What is your brand? And the simplest term, most times when people think of branding, they also think of a logo. So what is your logo? What does that look like? There's different ways you can get one. You can now, especially with AI, you can literally go to AI and have it generate you a decent logo online. That's a start. At least it's better than nothing. Or you can go on Fiverr, pay something 50 to maybe $100 and have them design you a logo that's really like what you are all about. Have a conversation with them, kind of tell them what your brand is, and they can build you a logo. That logo, then you can put that everywhere. You can put that on your email signature. You can put that on your social media everywhere. It gives people a little more credibility. Like, okay, they actually have a brand here. There's something going on with this business. And then the next step is actually to build the brand a little bit bigger. If say if you're doing presentations or things like that, put that branding that a designer helped you make on documents. If you're doing a sales deck, anything like that, again, you can go back to a Fiverr or whoever, have them design documents that literally match that branding that you have. That's what we did when we did our festivals. We had a graphic designer build us a logo and then build us a sales deck. We just gave her all the information we wanted in a sales deck, and she literally branded it to our logo. So then when we were going out pitching for these companies for the festival that we're doing, we literally looked a lot more professional because they see this logo, professional email, and this professional sales deck. And then the third thing, which is a website. Especially now with AI, you can really make decent websites. And then you plug in that logo, which you would have built earlier in there. You plug in the email address, which you would have got at the beginning, the first step. And now you have a website that literally looks decent, has your branding, has your email address. Again, you don't want a Gmail on your website, takes away that credibility. And now you have online persona. So somebody Googles you or meets you like, hey, nice to meet you. What's your company name is? For example, the Mango Innovation. Okay, let me look you up on the internet. Well, you're going to show up on the internet because now you have a website, and then they're going to see your website. They're going to see that branding. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really nice branding. They're going to see that email address. Okay, more credibility because like everything kind of seems structured. It wasn't just made like yesterday. Look, there's some thought put into it. Gives you that extra credibility. So then when you're meeting these people or you're giving business cards out, your network, and people can look you up, kind of get understand what you're all about, and it gives you a bigger persona than you may be at the time. So then it gives you that extra credibility to go and close the deals that you want to be and be the business you want to be. So yes, you're faking it, but you're not really faking. You're just kind of jumping a couple steps ahead by presenting this bigger persona that you are. But as long as you can deliver on it, does it really matter?
Definitely.
So yeah, and this fake it to you make it mentality is what allowed us to close $250,000 in sponsorship, literally doing all those exact steps. And then we just kind of we scaled it. And then eventually once we got a couple sponsors, we added that to the website, give us some more credibility, and kind of just build from there. So before we had the first sponsor, yes, we didn't have much going on, but after we had the first one, then yes, we're really doing this, and it kind of scaled from there.
He's
Awesome.
making me think of something. I have all the basics in place. However, just this past week, I was applying to writers' conferences as a speaker. And now I'm thinking, oh, you didn't put your logo on the doc that they had you submit. Like you could have prettied that up and made it just the next level from what it was, just like normal words on the page. And like, ooh, all right, Derrick, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna like put that on. I just didn't even think about it. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Branding can be very simple. So a lot of times people overthink it, but it can be very simple. Just presenting a brand and a little extra thought, it helps. And then now, especially more than ever, all the technology we have out here, it makes it so much easier. You have like Canva. You can literally plug in your branding into Canva and have Canva create some pretty cool templates for stuff like that. If you need something for like your letterhead or things like that. You can plug in your logo, get the colors, and then boom, they have some really cool create templates. You just play around with them, and then you don't even per se need a graphic design. You can just do it that way and save
Yep.
yourself
Yeah,
a whole bunch of money.
Yep. And
for
and
sure.
you're not even speaking to the feature that they have, or maybe you were, but just didn't mention that they actually have a full brand kit feature that saves everything for you, which I've definitely used before. And for
Exactly.
yeah. And most of these are even just like simple things you can do. I think the AI website is a little more technical, but funny that you mentioned it. Literally, I don't know, was it yesterday or the day before? I redid my entire website in less than an hour using AI. So it might be a little easier for me because that's what I'm been pivoting to, but all the previous steps are pretty simple. And again, you could probably find somebody on Fiverr to do the AI website as well for much cheaper than a web developer.
Yes. Even with the email, if you struggle with setting, because there's a little bit of a technical part with the email where you had to set up the DNS records and stuff like that. Some people might be a little scared of it. I know Google makes it pretty simple, so most people can figure it out. But again, if you're really worried about it, you can probably find somebody on Fiverr for like $50 or probably can help you set
Yep.
it up too.
Yep. One a follow-up question I have is once you have all these things set up, what is the next steps? Uh how do you continue to use your branding that you set up for yourself past your website, your docs, and your email? Is there any more to continue on that?
Yes, for sure. I think the main thing is like what I mentioned is a great starting point for like a new person who's starting a business and has a low budget, right? Now if you have as you've grown now, maybe you start making some money, then I would say to start more leaning in on telling a story with your branding now. The storytelling sometimes can take a little more education and maybe you might work with agencies like ourselves because the storytelling is more figuring, okay, who is your client? How are you trying to connect with them? What are the emotional triggers, emotional triggers that make them want to work with you or have this problem? So now you want to kind of tell that story on your website and your branding and even how you talk online. So that'll be the next step, I would say, is really now fine tuning. So it's fine, you got the baseline, but now let's fine tune it more to talk to your clients and make sure they really understand that you are the solution to the problems that you're trying to solve for them. So I think that would probably be the next step. So making sure your website tells that story, maybe taking away from it being more too salesy to more being more storytelling. So refining it. So I think refinement is probably the next step to really simplify it. And then I also think living the brand is also important. Try and make yourself unique. What is your unique story? Mine, is I love mangoes. It's all over my branding. So it's everywhere. It's in the company name. I love mangoes. And even my slogan on LinkedIn is very much to that same thing, like how much we take like branding and mangoes really seriously. So I think living a brand and encompassing that is also really important too. So then that also can help. 'Cause a lot of people don't always remember what you do, they remember your story. So if you have a really interesting story that people can remember, that also give you longevity and rememberability that allow your brand to grow. So everybody, I don't even have to I tell my story because people always ask me, they're like, what is the story behind Mango Innovation? You seem to love mangoes so much. What is that all about? So I've probably said that, I probably told that story probably 100 times, but it's great. And now they remember me as the mango guy. So you want to have things like that that make you memorable. I think that helps to grow the brand and take it to the next level. So that'll probably be the next step. That would be the third step, I guess, after that.
Awesome. I love that. Especially the mangoes is definitely a funny thing to talk about, I feel.
I so love mangoes, Derrick. It's like my favorite fruit of all time. So I don't know, we must have been connected in another time or something. Mangoes
Yeah,
are amazing.
they are amazing. They're juicy, they're refreshing. Who doesn't love a mango other than the people that I met one person that was allergic to mangoes, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, this is gonna be a hard call.
all
One
right.
more
Yeah,
question
go
on
for
that. I
it.
want to build on the storytelling, especially for people who are not, I don't know, maybe not good at copy or maybe they don't really know what to like say with their story. But I know everybody has a story, I think, right?
For sure.
How would you say, or how would you tell people to go and like learn how to express that story, how to like actually get it out onto paper or onto the website in an effective way, instead of just like, hey, I'm so and so and I like mangoes in this case. I'm sure you have a much better way of expressing that than I just said, right?
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, for my story related to mangoes, there's definitely some thought put into it. I mean, maybe the best way to explain it, I think, is maybe to give an example. I think everybody learns by example, so maybe I'll give an example to my own self, and then I can elaborate from there. So my story regards to just to give the audience a little context of why my company's name is Mango Innovation is I actually, yes, I do love the fruit mango, but I was actually inspired by Apple and the fact that Apple named their company after a fruit. And I was like, I love that they literally named it after a fruit, and they actually made their branding around that fruit. Like the logo literally is an apple bitten out of. So I love that they didn't just name it a fruit, they actually encompassed that branding. So I was like, I like that. I like how Apple tells stories. I like that it's really in the branding. So and it's on all the devices. So I was like, let me name my company same something after a fruit I love. And I was like, I love mango, so I'm gonna call it Mango. But I couldn't call it Mango because there's a clothing company called Mango, which to this day doesn't encompass. Hopefully, maybe somebody from their marketing will hear this. They don't encompass the actual branding of Mango. It's just black writing Mango. I was like, that's like you're missing on a great opportunity here. But um, I'm not gonna digress on that. But so I was like, I'm gonna name my company Mango. Can't do just Mango, so I'm gonna call it Mango Innovation because we do innovative things. And that kind of like that was the story of like me figuring, okay, this is our story, how I came to that decision to name the company that. And everybody loves to hear that story because they're always like, such a random name, what inspired it? So that's part of my story is telling the story of how I came to name the company that and what the whole thought part and everything like that is. So I think that part is really important. And then the fact that I genuinely do love mangoes. I'll eat like 5 mangoes a week. So like that also helps tell that story. So I think telling a story of different parts of your life is helpful. So one of my stories is telling the story of how I named my company. Another story is also your life and how did you get to where you are now. So everybody has a story in terms of why they started this business, why they're in this industry, what brought them into this. Tell that story. Tell what makes that unique to you, and a lot of people that might resonate with them, and also gives you a little bit more credibility because okay, he didn't just stumble upon this. There's a thought pattern why he got into this business, or there's a passion, or whatever it is. That is your story. You can own it. Everybody has a unique story. It's not nobody's story is the same. Everybody has unique, different life experiences. So you want to leverage that in your storytelling, and telling your story of your brand and what makes you unique. And that's why I say storytelling is really important because then people remember your story. They don't remember per se what you do, but they may remember your story. And that's why you want to bring storytelling even to your products and service when you're telling people what you do. Tell them what you do and what impact it brings, and tell a story, tell it in a story format. Like my service allows you to feel better about yourself. Like you want to tell that story. Um, I think storytelling is a hidden talent that's been around for centuries, but in modern day marketing, it's a lot of times forgotten. A lot of people like to just advertise the product and not talk about the story behind it. Um, the biggest example, I'd say mainstream, for big commercial companies that do a lot of storytelling to this day, which is, I think is amazing, is Apple does it all the time. If you look at their ads, every single one of their ads tells a story of like how the product may have brought joy to a family or saved them time or allowed for them to be able to. They had one commercial of a girl who was in university. She had to wear glasses and she had problems. She was struggled to see far. So they literally had the iPhone on the back of a Mac, and they're showing you like wouldn't it be great to be able to see better? And like they're telling a story how this made a big impact in her life, making it easier for her to be able to see what's on the board when she's sitting at the back of the auditorium in university. So they're telling a story. And yes, then they lean in about talking about the features, but mostly it's the storytelling that resonates. And me remembering and telling you this is because I did it in a storytelling format. I've seen hundreds probably of Apple ads over the years, but it's the one they're telling you that story, you remember it. And that's what resonates.
Definitely. Definitely agree with the everyone has something unique to say about themselves and creating that story. Definitely encourage everyone to go and, write it down and add what the things you like are working towards and that you're passionate about. Definitely bolster that up. I'm definitely trying to do that with my own business. My whole goal is like lifestyle freedom and all that, and that's what I like to add to that. But definitely good insights there. Mom, do you have any other questions?
Um, yeah, so I wrote a few things down. I love to rewind to quotes I heard, like moments I heard, and this is really also for you listeners. It's like important questions. How are you living the brand? I loved that, Derrick. It made me, I asked myself when I heard you say it, I'm like, oh, how am I doing that, right? My Brave Healer Productions. And in publishing, of course, we are storytelling. So I loved that question that you posed. It's like, how am I living the brand? All right, I got some ideas. What is there's this, I loved what you said. There's a story in how you named your business. I'm like, there's your first story for your business. Like, how the heck did you even come up with the name? So if you're listening, start like telling that story. It's cool. It's a cool story to know about a business, right? And then how did you get here today doing what you do? Of course, that's your life story. It doesn't matter that it's a business, it's the story of your life in your business, right? So, stories, oh my gosh, all day long, the stories. And then the last thing was, what are those stories of impact? You used Apple as an example, and we all, as business owners, have stories of impact with real people. People are what make your business go. And so when you're able to tell stories of impact, this going to like spear people in the heart. Like that's going to be the place where they're like leaning in and going, yeah, tell me more. Right. I loved all of that. Thank you so much. Um, so, we love systems around here, and I love the way you've systemized thinking about for those first stages of a business, fake it till you make it. And then, what are you doing next for your stories? We also know that the entrepreneurial journey can be challenging. And what we want to know next is what's the most important business building tip that you'd like to share with our audience?
Hmm. That's That's a good question, actually. I think definitely I would say like any other business, I've struggled myself. And I think realistically, I think one is setting goals. I think those are always great. You know, everybody talks about setting goals. I think that's important. But I also think take setting goals and then setting actions for those goals are really important. Because I think, you know, with any entrepreneur, you'll have your moments where you're killing it and everything is amazing, like lots of clients, success, success, success. And then you hit a growing pain. And then you're like, okay, I have all this success, but I don't have capacity. And every level you get, there's always going to be growing pains. And anybody who says that doesn't say that there's no growing pains, they're lying to you. There's always growing pains at every level. Even billionaires have growing pains. They're just at a different scale. There's growing pains at every level of business. So I think that is one of the things. And then from those growing pains, you kind of have to figure out how to scale or that next level through those growing pains. So I think it's really like mapping it out and planning. I think it's really important. I think with that and then action and just staying steady on that and just keep action, action. And also my biggest thing I would say out of all of it is learning. Um, I would say yeah, sorry. I'm gonna change my answer actually. Now, I just as I'm saying,
That's
I'm gonna
fair.
lean in on I'm gonna lean
That's
in on
fair.
learning. Actually, I'm gonna say learning has actually been my biggest superpower as an entrepreneur. Everything else is important when I mentioned too, but I think I would say learning because if learning wasn't there, all that stuff wouldn't even be possible. I've gone into different industries, like yes, I'm in branding and strategy and web, but I've tried other industries over the years just dabbled or even gone all in, even the fact that we did a festival, those are all examples of trying different things and learning different industries and learning different skill sets to do that. Didn't know anything about sponsorship and how to deal with sponsors. All those things were things I had to learn. So I think as an entrepreneur, I think learning is one of the biggest superpowers you need to have. And I think you need to stay having an open mind to keep learning. Yeah, so a lot of people are like, oh, once I leave university, I'm done learning. I think that's the wrong thinking. You need to have the thinking that you're going to keep learning all the time from reading, from meeting people, for new skills you may need to learn to take your business to the next level or to pivot. You got to keep learning. I think learning is the most important thing. Like right now, I'm thinking about learning a new skill because I want us to start doing different types of web builds for a different technology. I'm going to go learn that new technology so that we can learn. So I learn it so that I can help us scale into that sector. I don't know anything about it, but I'm actually excited to learn about it. So I think that is really important. Being open-minded and willing to learn all the time, no matter what level you are, how long you've been in business, there's always something new to learn.
Yeah, I
I
often
like
say,
that.
yeah, me too. I often say the mark of a master is a learner's mindset. And
Hmm.
so, like, Jonathan and I have both been involved in the martial arts. And, like when you earn your black belt, you learn what you don't know, not what you know. And that's the thing is like, if you go through life with that mindset, it's amazing. Anything
Um,
else you want to know from Derrick, John?
I just had one comment to say on that about the learning. Even you were saying in like other sectors, but even in your own sector, it can be very valuable in terms of like the storytelling. Even um, one of the things I've been learning with trying to do AI is figuring out how to make good YouTube content to have like an inbound system. And one of the things I learned was sharing your learning as either a story or just like basic tutorial is a great way to obviously like continue your learning, but also share that with the potential clients that you might have for storytelling or AI or even like writing and book publishing. It's a great way to continue to grow, but also convey that you are knowledgeable in your um, area of your business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Learning is really, really important. And then yes, I think I think is universally should be used across all industries. I don't think it's really industry specific. I think storytelling can be done anywhere. Storytelling can be done in some of the most boring industries you can think of. Like, storytelling can be done in insurance. We've
Oh,
seen it in insurance. There's literally
Yep.
commercials like the disaster guy, like, "Hey, I'm disaster. Don't you want to protect about me?" And he literally is going around wreaking havoc, and you're like, wow, that's one way to tell a story about insurance. Didn't think about it. It's very creative, but then it makes you think about insurance. Like, wait a minute, I'm not protected against him.
they gave it a
So,
persona. It was good.
yes, yeah, give it a persona, right? So, I think you can bring storytelling to anything. Sometimes it might take a little more of a creative way to kind of spin it, but I think you can do it. I mean, you could probably bring storytelling to mining. and talk about like the impact of what mining this mineral is and the story of where this mineral goes and what impact it makes. You can literally spin anything into a story, and then that allows people to better consume it, understand it. I mean, storytelling is how we teach children. And then people think once we become adults, storytelling should stop. I think
Mm,
storytelling should keep going.
yeah. Yeah, no doubt. But I'm dying to know the festival that you worked on. Are you allowed to say?
It was a hookah and vape festival that we did
Okay.
in my local town. I won't give the name, but
Okay, okay, okay. That's cool.
we spent a year planning it out. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about
I
how
bet.
to build a festival, the vendors you need to work with, how to find the actual location, because we had to try different locations. And yeah, like I was talking about early sponsorships, how you like sign sponsorships, the sponsorship relationship, and then we actually did the festival. So we actually got a venue and we actually set up the whole festival. So we actually had to figure out how to build like exhibitor maps and all that kind of stuff, where certain exhibitors are going to go, foot traffic, all these little things. None of this stuff none of us knew prior to that. So it was kind of like a crash course of learning and evolving. And I think that's the way it is. A lot of some big festivals, they probably tried a couple. It took them multiple years probably to get it right. Some of them probably were never knew anything with festivals, and eventually they just learned and it scaled until eventually they became professionals, like because they've done it so many times. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congrats.
yeah.
That's nice to go into it with that kind of mind and just ready to roll. And now you become the go-to for it if you were brave enough to do it that first time and learn all the things you need to learn, right? That's awesome.
Eh, Yeah, exactly. So we learned a lot. I also learned that I probably would never do a festival before again. How much
Okay.
work and effort it is to do. I would never do it again. But
That's a good
the more,
lesson too.
yeah, that's a great lesson. So like, if somebody else is doing it, I'll be like, I'll tip my hat off. I'm like, okay, I know what you're going through. It's a lot, and yeah, I might know one or two vendors I can recommend to you for certain things, but other than that, I'm gonna be like, I'm good.
Yes,
So,
definitely. You're making me laugh and I was choking. I'm like, oh my
oh
God, he's
no.
gonna make me laugh on that one. Okay, so we'd
Uh,
like to close the show with one more question. One of the goals of Systemized is to support our entrepreneur friends. Um, Jonathan, you might need to take this one over.
No worries. One of the goals of Systemize is to support our fellow entrepreneurs and their business to get the goal of what time freedom and lifestyle that they want to live. So our question for you is, what has entrepreneurship done for you? Or what has it allowed you to do that was unexpected or you never saw yourself doing?
I would say meeting a lot of different people from different industries and doing a lot of networking. And also making me come out of my bubble of because I'm a tech guy, and a lot of tech guys are introverts, and I realized I have to be an extrovert to be successful. That means doing podcasts, going in person networking events, online networking events, just approaching people, having conversations and building relationships and maintaining them is something I never thought I would need to do. I remember when I was younger, my aunt used to tell me to do this all the time. When your elders are telling you, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, and you're hearing them, but you're not really like taking it in. And then as I got older and doing entrepreneur, I realized everything she was saying was important. And I realized I never thought I'd be doing all those things. And now they're like super important to my business success, building relationships, partnerships, and those have been great. Some of my greatest deals are from partnerships. So I realize now that those are things I should be doing more of and didn't think I'd be doing, but now here I am and I've evolved and I've learned and I'm like, okay, yeah. And I think that's also something, have an open mind. I think is also important. Is one thing I've also learned too, being an entrepreneur is have an open mind to see opportunities, sometimes visible to you really easily, sometimes not, and just let those potentials happen. So I'd say going into everything with open mind is very important as an entrepreneur. I think that's the mindset people need to have, and I've learn to embrace that.
Definitely. I can relate to that one as being an introvert myself and trying to, do entrepreneurship. Definitely a harder thing to, get out of your shell and like actually go and do the networking and like recording yourself on camera and all this different kind of stuff. But it's definitely a good thing to uh open up and learn how to do it and get more comfortable. So I definitely agree with you there. Did you catch us, Mom, or did you miss all of that?
I got the tail end, but I'm going to let you
Okay.
take it from here.
All
Oh my
good. All
gosh.
good.
He got me with that laugh. Like, I had to have a moment. It was good. I mean, entrepreneurship, you got to keep your sense of humor, right?
Definitely.
Mhm.
I think that's also something. Don't be personable. I think that's also something people need to realize. Be personable and don't always be selling. Just have conversations. I think
Yep.
that's also something that people need to, especially if you're doing networking. I think having conversations and less about the selling. And then if they've asked you what you do, whatever, sure, then obviously answer. But I think just having conversations, being personal, being funny, and just being light. I think that's been my thing and how I approach business. And a lot of people like doing business because I don't try to make it any more than it needs to be.
Definitely. Well, that'll close us out here, Derrick. Thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share with us today. Before we go, we're gonna let you give you the chance to let people know what you're up to, where to find you, and all that kind of stuff. So go for it.
Yeah. So first off, if you guys want to talk to me, follow me, or interact with me, I'm active, crazy active on LinkedIn. You can find me under just in the search Derrick Derrick, and my last name Boddie Boddie on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, but more on LinkedIn. Um, Yeah, what I'm working on these days is just trying to just we're working with companies that are really looking to do more storytelling in their websites and the branding and the strategy. So if you know any companies or people who would love to work with us and help, need help with that, we're here and willing to have those conversations and would love to work with you.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard Derrick. All of his links can be found in the description. Also, if you're interested in implementing AI systems into your business, please feel free to grab a free discovery call with me, which will help you get started systemizing your business today. But that does it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, for epic business growth, get systemized.